So I'm about to mix up a batch of grain feed for these pigs. They don't get a lot of this. This is kind of a once or twice a week kind of thing. They do get supplemental grain with corn, so we're going to start off with these pellets. That is the most economical. I think it's $13 a 50-pound sack. That is the most economical pelletized feed mix for swine that I'm able to find anywhere. And we have a lot of feed suppliers in this county, so that's pretty cheap. It is 14% protein swine mix, whatever. Supposedly has its trace elements and so forth. Then I've got about 40% of cracked corn. There's another $11 a sack or so. This powdery stuff, I had mice get into a bag of cassava powder. Cassava has like 50 things in it, everything under the sun. It's also got a lot of sugars. I'm not big on carbs, but hogs need carbs. They need excess energy to put on fat. I'm not one for just loading them full of corn. I see them get sick from that all the time, but they do need it. Next, this is like stuff for immunity. Organic raw cocoa powder is full of antioxidants and trace minerals and vitamins. Turmeric, garlic, and cayenne pepper are all big for your immune system. Allium vegetables, that's your garlic, your leeks, onions, scallions. They all have some good stuff in them. I can't remember what it's called. Turmeric is supposedly huge for your immune system. I know I put it in my coffee. Cayenne pepper has capsaicin and a little bit of salt. You need salt to make HCl, hydrochloric acid, which is what a monogastric is going to digest its food with. Break down proteins. Speaking of protein, tuna fish, a bunch of tuna that somebody gave me, like more than we can eat. So 2 cans of tuna are going to go in there. Iodine in the salt prevents goiters. So that stuff's going to go in, and then in a second I'll throw in a bunch more junk. And it's not going to be much. I know you're looking at this thinking, oh boy, that's expensive, but a sprinkle here, a sprinkle there. A bottle of turmeric lasts me for probably a year. What's the cost of taking a sick animal to the vet? What's that cost you? It's never less than $100. What's it cost you to have one die? Oh boy. You don't want sickness. This is very low cost if it prevents disease, if it allows the animal's immune system to do what it's designed to do. Very low cost. Now, antioxidant, we hear a lot about that. What does it do? It prevents free radical damage from radical oxygen species. And that's why people die from McDonald's. It's called ferroptosis. I'm not going to get all technical about it, but ferroptosis is a form of cell death that's not intentional. Apoptosis is intentional programmed cell death. Your cells are born and then they're recycled, mostly through the spleen, at about 4 months of age. Cancers are things that have gotten past their apoptosis elimination date. Antioxidants are basically fire extinguishers for radical oxygen species. When you put hydrogen peroxide on a cut and it bubbles up white, that is the oxidation, the burning, the destruction of cells, both necrotic and healthy tissue. Tissue is destroyed by oxidation. When you eat polyunsaturated fats, this is your canola oil, soybean oil, peanut oil. These are hydrocarbon chain molecules where they're not fully saturated. Saturated fats go HC, 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 HC. Polyunsaturated fats have multiple spots that go carbon to carbon. The double carbon bond is called the methyl bridge. When we digest this, it releases a radical oxygen molecule. And that molecule starts off a chain reaction that continually sets off another radical oxygen molecule. Antioxidants extinguish this runaway inferno. Alpha tocopherol, vitamin E, mostly found in almonds, extinguishes it as well. So raw cocoa powder, or cacao, I think that's how people call it, cacao powder. Cocoa has been processed more, and a lot of the good stuff's been taken out. So raw cacao powder has got more good stuff in it. That's going to help reduce your inflammation and your ferroptosis. When you've got iron and lots of oxygen species, you're going to have stuff dying. You're going to have the immune system triggering off massive inflammation, basically killing the host. Now, another thing I'm going to throw in here, since we got a new bottle and this is a pretty old curry powder. It's been clumped up from humidity and it's sticking. I'm going to dump some of that in there too, just to use it up, because I don't want to throw it out. Curry has turmeric in it. It's good for you. And one more thing about tuna fish. What does it say on the side? Source of omega-3 fatty acid. So animals need protein, they need fatty acids. These are essential, meaning you cannot create them. You need to consume them. Where on earth is a pig going to get fish? I mean, not in my pen, it's not. Why am I doing all this? Because I've got a confined animal. It is not free to go out and browse. It's not free like a wild boar to go out in the woods and pick up whatever it wants. If it was free, it'd be eating all kinds of, walnuts and acorns and hickory nuts. It'd be getting its fatty acids wherever it found them. There are none. There are no fatty acids to be found inside of my pen. So you've got to introduce them. And that's what this is about. This is not costing me much, because really it's a rare thing. It's a very small quantity. We'll consider it trace elements. And the savings is in not having a sick animal. And it's well worth it. You get paid when they reproduce. If you've got an animal that's nutritionally lacking, it's going to fail to breed. It's going to have aborted pregnancies. It's going to have small litters. It's going to have stillborns. Things like this. You get paid when you got an animal that can wean a litter of 13 and you sell them all. So consider that. That's how you get paid, by a healthy animal. Now, a couple more things that are going to go in here. This is inulin powder. Inulin powder, I had to buy this for making yogurt. And a whole batch of yogurt, which is a gallon of milk, makes about 4 quarts, 4 yogurt tubs. It takes 1 scoop of inulin powder, and that's like a pound of it. So this is going to last me 10 years. Inulin powder is just ground up chicory root. It's the fiber. That's all it is. Bacteria in your lower intestine lives on fiber. If you don't have that bacteria because of a low fiber diet, then when you do eat fiber, you won't be able to digest it. I'm trying to feed grass and greens to hogs. There is a lot of fiber in there, and they don't have a rumen. They're monogastric, so the only thing that's going to digest fiber for them is bacteria. I need to support that bacteria. And this is why you put it in your yogurt batch too, so that the bacteria, the inoculant bacteria, grows into a high quantity, millions of them. Now, then another thing we're going to do, a splash of avocado oil, and I've got some sunflower seeds in here as well. Avocado oil has got all these really good fats in it. It's not easy for a pig to find fat, especially when it's in a pen. Your saturated fat is full of cholesterol. Cholesterol is the backbone of pretty much all of your hormones. It is the building block of your hormones. So your progesterone, cortisol, estrogen, testosterone, all of this sexual development requires cholesterol. Vitamin D is synthesized when sun hits your skin, but you have to have cholesterol. So if you don't have fats like the tuna fish, alpha linoleic acid, omega-3 fatty acids, if you do not have these essential components in there, you're not going to have an animal that has a rapid sexual maturity, because it's devoid of the products that it needs. Now, these last two things are just giveaway food. People give me food all the time. Churches hand out food. It's a real common thing. My kids don't want to eat it. None of it's really all that good for you. It's, made with canola oil, stuff like that. Things that cause inflammation. I don't want to eat it. It's manufactured, processed food. But it's got a lot of carbohydrates, and I can't stand seeing food go to waste. So it's going to go to these pigs. I'm pretty low on carbs with them compared to most people. Most people are giving them a tremendous amount of grain. I don't do it because it's expensive and it's not good for the pancreas. It's not good for the liver. Chronic insulin, trying to deal with chronic carbohydrates, which are rapidly broken down into sugars. But you do have to have them in there. So there's one of the ways I save money, is by people give me stuff that I don't really want my family eating. I give it to the pigs.